white male with black shorts. USC police telling us that they did not find any shell casings. Again, they did not find any shell casings. At one point, there was a secondary search at the library with a tactical team. Authorities also checked for videos around campus for any evidence, and they tell us nothing came up at all.
An active shooter report at Villanova University in Pennsylvania on Sunday was also a hoax. Only 11% of California's picket fire has been contained so far. A report from KTVU, Fox 2, San Francisco's John Krinjak.
1,200 firefighters from across the state surging into the fire zone, crews rushing to contain what's known as a fire whirl, using helicopters to hit the flames from above. Others tackling flare-ups along the edge of the fire zone using hoses to shore up containment lines to make sure they hold. At the Ink Grove winery, the flames were just a few feet away from the grapes. One after another, we watched bone-dry trees and bushes going up in flames in a matter of seconds. As thick smoke continues to billow from the picket fire, air quality warnings have been extended.
The fire has burned at least 6,800 acres so far. CAL FIRE says no confirmation of damage to structures. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
President Trump is setting his sights on other major U.S. cities to send National Guard troops to. It's part of his efforts to crack down on crime and illegal immigration. Fox's Griff Jenkins has more.
President Trump is threatening to send National Guard troops to more cities to fight crime. They reportedly include Chicago, New York, and Baltimore. Democratic leaders there say his claims of high crime don't match the facts. The president is also now threatening to cut funding to rebuild Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge unless the city addresses crime. Guard troops are already in our nation's capital.
A Pentagon official says those troops in Washington, D.C. are now carrying firearms. Ukraine's war with Russia rages on as the country marked 34 years of independence. Fox's Marianne Rafferty has the latest.
Ukraine is stepping up attacks against Russian energy facilities. Kyiv is using drones to strike refineries and pumping stations, part of an effort to hurt Russia's war machine. And their efforts appear to be working. Gasoline prices are soaring across the country. Russia is also accusing Ukraine of launching attacks on a nuclear power plant. Officials say it sparked a fire that was quickly put out. Meantime, world leaders are showing support for Ukraine as the country celebrates its 34th Independence Day from the Soviet Union. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping were among those delivering messages of support.
President Trump continues to try and bring Russia and Ukraine together for a summit to discuss peace, but the summit doesn't have a date. Iran's leader Ayatollah Khamenei with defiant words for Washington Sunday, suggesting that all nuclear negotiations are now off the table, calling issues between Iran and the U.S. unsolvable, warning that Iran will never bow to the U.S. in the nuclear standoff. Khamenei also defending his freezing nuke talks and the use of anti-American slogans being chanted around Iran, including in Iran's parliament. I'm Deborah Valentine. This is Fox News.
It's Bubba back at KFC. Get ready for the return of a crowd favorite. KFC Korean hot wings and KFC fried chicken are back. Glazed in authentic Korean sauce, sweet, spicy, and bursting with bold flavor you won't forget. Crispy, juicy, legendary. Only at KFC. Order now at KFC dine-in, drive-thru, takeout, or delivery. Because when it comes to flavor, nobody does it like KFC. KFC Korean chicken, finger licking good.
Every company needs money for investments to help grow our working capital to take on today's economy. That's why Bank Pacific's commercial loan officers stand ready to help you. We offer several programs tailored to assist companies to get to the next step, or perhaps for a startup, including working with SBA and GITA. Bank Pacific. And we want to be your partner. Equal opportunity lender. Credit conditions apply.
Tamua is coming back to Guam. The UOG Endowment Foundation and Guam Comedy present the return of the comedy sensation, Tamua, with his hit Chihu Tour. One night only, Saturday, November 1st at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. Tickets are going fast at guamtime.net, so don't wait. Get ready to laugh, celebrate, and shout, Chihu!
Get ready, Guam. Philippine Airlines brings you this year's ultimate seat sale. Fly round trip to the Philippines for as low as $379 all in on economy and $849 on business class. And that's not all. Discover Southeast Asia for as low as $749, Japan for $349, China with all in fares for $409, and even Australia at an amazing deal of $1,189. But hurry, this offer is only good until August 31st, 2025. Book today at Goodwin Travel at Micronesia Mall or through any of our accredited travel agents. Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino.
The time is 1800 hours and 7 minutes. It's the Veterans with Benefits show with your hosts, Anthony Tyrone and Corinna Ballista.
Half a day, veterans. Welcome back. Woohoo. As always, we want to start by thanking our sponsors, Ambrose Inc., Hebzibah Family Medical Clinic, American Legion Post 1. They have steak day every second Saturday. Master Blasters for all your blasting needs. 11Z's. Thank you to Grace and Verge. I think today I had the red raspberry iced tea. So delicious. And they offer 11% discount for veterans and military. And then we also have Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's. Do you want to say something over there to Dane? You don't want to say hi to Dane? Hi, Dane. Woohoo. Talu Eats offering discount to veterans also. And then HMI, the veteran nonprofit organization that Anthony and I are both part of. JTC Services and the Most Services. And then my favorite part, Veteran of the Week. Veteran of the Week is Master Sergeant retired Anthony Sablon, U.S. Air Force. Master Sergeant Anthony Sablon honorably served more than 2 decades in the United States Air Force, culminating in retirement from Anderson Air Force Base, Guam. With his last duty assignment in the 43rd Combat Support Group, which was Strategic Air Command at the time. He entered continuous active service on February 9 in 1965 from California, advancing to E7 in 1983. A seasonal personnel and legal support non-commissioned officer, Master Sergeant Sablon's primary specialties included legal services technician and administrative technician. Across these roles, he provided expert leadership in records management, claims and tort processing, administrative processing, and legal office operations, directly supporting unit readiness and the SAC mission in the Pacific. So it was Strategic Air Command, but now it's called United States Strategic Command. Master Sergeant Sablon completed professional military education and specialty training that included the Non-Commissioned Officer Leadership School, the NCO Academy, and the U.S. Air Force Civilian Personnel Management course. Along with specialized claims and torts instruction, his commitment to mentoring airmen and improving administrative processes earned him a reputation for steady leadership and mission-focused excellence. His decorations and awards reflect sustained superior service, the Meritorious Service Medal, Air Force Commendation Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, Air Force Good Conduct Medal with 1 silver and 1 bronze oak leaf cluster, multiple awards, Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, National Defense Service Medal, and the Air Force Longevity Service Award with 4 oak leaf clusters. Master Sergeant Sablon retired honorably after completing the years of service, 21 years of service. He remains a respected member of the veteran community, exemplifying the Air Force core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Let's congratulate Master Sergeant retired Anthony Sablon for Veteran of the Week. Woohoo! All right. That's my favorite part. And then next we'll have, do you want me to read it, Anthony?
Sure.
Really? My turn? I get to read this?
Finally.
I know, right? Okay. So normally, we talk to veterans almost daily, but we see them twice a week, one-on-one, and they always have questions. So we always want to address it on the radio show and sometimes on our podcast. So the questions, can range anywhere from what benefits do I have now that I'm a veteran to what can I do with my benefits. So the most recent one that we received was, can I transfer my GI Bill to my family members? So here are some details that we researched on transferring your post 9/11 GI Bill, which is also known as Chapter 33 benefits, to your spouse or your kids. Who's eligible, how it works, and what to watch for. Can you transfer? Yes, but only while you're currently serving on active duty or Guard and Reserve. In general, you must have at least 6 years in service and agree to serve 4 more years from the date you request the transfer, and have each family member enrolled in DEERS before you transfer. Purple Heart recipients can transfer while serving without the 6 and 4 requirement. Other rules still apply. DOD, not VA, controls transfer eligibility. VA cannot waive DOD's rules. Who can receive the benefits? Spouse and or children listed in DEERS, including adopted, foster, or legal wards per DOD rules. You can split months among them in any combination up to 36 months transferred for whatever you have left, if less, or whatever you have left. When can your family use them? Your spouse can use the benefits right away, whether you're still serving or already separated. If you separated before January 1, 2013, the spouse has 15 years to use them. If you, the veteran, separated on or after January 2013, there is no time limit. There is no monthly housing allowance, MHA, while you are on active duty per the VA. Your children. Children can start using benefits after you've completed 10 years of service and once they are 18 or have a high school diploma. They must use them before age 26. A child can get MHA, which is the housing allowance, and book stipend even while you're on active duty, if otherwise eligible. How to transfer while you're still in uniform. Start the transfer in Mail Connect. You're going to go Mail Connect Education, Transfer Education Benefits. Honestly, once you're in Mail Connect, it's really easy. It's really self-service from there. Wait for the branch of service approval, and then you're going to get the letter, and then the dependent applies to the VA. After DOD approves, then they need to file a Form 22-1990. Changing or revoking later. You can add new dependents or change allocations only while still serving. After separation, you may reallocate months among dependents you already named. DOD strongly encourages assigning at least 1 month in to each dependent before you separate to keep your options open. Money basics your family will ask about. Tuition and fees, they are paid per the Chapter 33 rate based on your service percentage. The housing allowance is payable to the student when eligible, not payable to a spouse when you're active duty. Books and supply stipend, payable to the student when eligible. Spouses don't receive it while the sponsor is active duty. Yellow ribbon. If the student is otherwise eligible, transferred benefits can pair with yellow ribbon at participating schools to help with higher tuition. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Waiting until after separation to start. Transfers must be requested and approved while serving. Not enough retainability. You have to be eligible to serve 4 more years from the TEB date. And then for getting DEERS, the family member must be in DEERS before you submit the request. So basically, just follow the DOD rule, I guess, law for GI Bill. But I know we always have veterans who say, Karina, I'm trying to use my GI Bill. How do I do it? And I just give them the 1-800 number to call and then do it on va.gov. It's really easy. and Mail Connect. They still have access. All right. That's a lot.
I can talk now?
I guess.
Well, I just wanted to say that, I usually do that part, but you
know.
mispronounce one word.
What is that?
It's spelled T-H-E. You mispronounced that word.
T-H-E?
Yeah.
It's T-E-B.
I'm just kidding.
Really, this guy talking about mispronouncing words?
Right, Jose? Like,
Really?
give me some backup here.
Really, Jose?
Just because, I got to read it today.
I know. She wanted to take my thunder. I was like, just raring to go again.
No, he stole it. Didn't he, Jose, when he said that I spelled T-H, when I pronounced T-H-E wrong?
I know. It's either the, not the.
Oh, my gosh. Anyways, did you want to say hello?
Oh, yes. I wanted to say hello to Knox and Aaliyah and to my mom.
All right. Okay. Wow. So I kind of like, I'm like, hey, normally,
Yes,
like I feel like out of order.
I know. See, that's why I was like, see, that's what you get. But no worries. I kind of enjoyed that break. I usually have to read that, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So, but it's really good information.
It's really good
Believe it or not, our veterans, when they tell us, they said, hey, thanks for putting that out. That's great information. And here I am like, oh my gosh, I got to read this long list of, stuff. So
let's recap real quick before we get to our guests. So last week we went over the 4th annual symposium at UOG. We shared some pictures, spoke about it.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And then we have Boot Camp 45 coming up at the PD Mayor's office. Starts at 5:30. Please come. Please show up. If you need to register, send me a message 671-682-7631. It's absolutely free. And then we got some pictures shared to us from Ed.
Oh.
Ed gave us a video. So we donated a wheelchair. So he was showing us some of the. Oh no, I gotta lower this radio down. Okay. So we donated a wheelchair, and so they used it for training. Yes. So I sent it to Jose, and I said, "Hey, this is the group that we had at the symposium, and this is the so there's the dog, there's the wheelchair that we donated.
Awesome.
So they're using it for training,
right?
So we're gonna visit him on Thursday, I think, to see it in action in person. But I wanted to share the video just to show people, you can watch them train. They meet the Manila underhang right there. You could see it.
Right.
Then on Thursdays they're gonna be at the Pacific Place, we're under Outback, in front of Coffee Beanery. You can watch the dogs being trained, but you can take your dog and make it become a service dog, and with their training, with their help. It's called Canine LLC, veteran owned. Ed Tovis.
Yes, yeah, and Ed's doing quite a bit, and this is the kind of stuff that you'll get to see at the symposium, and more than that, right? This is us showcasing our veterans. Our veterans are very active out there in the community, and they're doing a lot of great things. And the only way we can continue to have them do what they're doing and help us help each other, right, is for us to support them and to show the things they're doing. He did the presentation to try to get the dogs to retrieve medication for the veterans. And, when you think about a service dog, you think, oh, this dog is just going to guide them around, and what ended up happening was he's training them for, retrieving things like the inhaler for the asthma patients. So if an asthma patient is like having an attack, for example, right, they could potentially get the dog to go retrieve the medication and bring it to them. And that was something that, many folks might look at that and think, oh, that's nothing, right? But when you're a disabled veteran and you need that help, it's always good to be able to do that. And he was showing something that he wasn't so necessarily there to present, but somebody asked a question about, I think, the size of the dog. And then, Ed commenced to show his mastery of what the dogs deal with, right? And he started talking about, you could always use the dog almost like as a crutch if you need to get up. And when I saw that, right, I never would have imagined that was something that you might be able to do. And I guess there's even so much more. So I think one of the things one of the veterans asked, could you train it to go get a beer, right? So
Yes, I think did I send that one? I think I sent that one to, to Jose.
There it is.
Oh, the beer, right? I think
Yes.
I know we sent it to the Ambrose team.
Yes,
and we showed the dog. Where is it at?
There it is. It's up in the
right now?
yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh.
And how appropriate for our sponsors, Ambrose, right? It's he went and got a Bud Light, right?
Yeah, a Bud Light.
All right, so
you know what's amazing is I'm watching these videos. They're training in Manila, which is right next to a very busy road.
Yes.
And those dogs are well disciplined, or at least the trainers have made it so that the dogs are paying attention, because that's a lot of distraction.
Oh, yes. There was a whole room full of distraction at Symposium, and they were laser focused.
You should see when they go down to, what is it called, Pacific Place?
Pacific Place.
That's, everybody's down there.
You know, where under Outback Coffee Beanery?
Yeah.
The overhang there? Yeah, a lot.
And you know, Ed is a very, very humble guy. And, you know, I've been telling him for a long time, hey, I'm going to send all the veterans to you. Let's promote your business, right? And Ed was always like, no, I don't need that, right? It's okay, right? He'll keep doing his stuff. And when he told me he'll come out and do this for the symposium, right, I said, man, this is like one of the only chances I get to showcase him, and more importantly, showcase what he does. And I was not disappointed, and I don't think our veterans were, you know, and just seeing what the dogs can do for us, the service dogs, and, you know, it's just really some great stuff he's doing. And, you know, all it really took was for us to reach out to these guys. And, you know, Ed was very supportive of us last year too, right? So this is also why we want to do this. So good stuff.
Thank you for sharing that, Jose. I'm going to read some comments online. Charlie Hermosa, he was on the show. Did you do a radio show this morning, Jose?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so he's part of 93.3. That's right.
He says, how are you guys? Semper Fi, love the hats. And then he says,
Hey,
Anthony.
Charlie.
He says, Anthony for Guam Senator 2026 with his praying hands.
Well, because I can't be lieutenant governor and make coffee for him anymore.
And then Jose says, Charlie Hermosa for Pika's Best Guest Radio Host 2025.
Yes.
And then Bill Salisbury told you absolutely, Jose, whatever you said. And then Bill Salisbury, Biba HMI, Tyrant for Senator 20. I think they're nominating you for something.
I don't know. I need to get my...
Is that why you got a haircut?
Oh, he finally... No, but his haircut is weeks old. Remember? We're like, oh, man, no fundraiser. And then Brennan Fausto, let's go, veteran
Brennan,
warfighters.
hello, everyone. Yeah.
And then Bill Salisbury, Hermosa, Senator 2026, Semper Fidelis, sir.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Hermosa, a salute back to you. Yeah. Joseph Ramos, Biba, HMI team and veterans. Ken Paulino, good evening. HMI, awesome team. Nice hats, both of you. Edward Buendicho. Am I saying that right? Buendicho? Half a day. Brennan Fausto, number 1. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, man, we're already almost at break, and we haven't even talked to our guests yet. Oh, my gosh. There's so much to talk about. Okay. So I know you always do your little guest thing, but I do want to say that our guest is an Air Force veteran.
Ooh.
Used to work for the VA, and now he works for Bank Pacific. So you take it away.
Oh, man, who needs no introduction? Go ahead and introduce yourself, good sir.
Hello, my name is Fernando Hunt, and like she said, I'm an Air Force veteran. I previously worked at the Atlanta Regional Loan Center as a loan specialist, so I'll be talking about VA home loans. I transferred to DOD, which brought me to Guam, and now I'm retired, and now I'm working for Bank Pacific and hoping to help you with your home loan needs.
Awesome.
All right.
And you love it in Guam?
I love it here. That's why me and my wife chose to come here. We purposefully looked to come to Guam.
All right.
So you've never been here before?
We visited, which was part of the reasons why
you came back.
We wanted to come.
You know, you're like maybe like almost a dozen veterans say that. Another veteran couple that we met, he was the veteran. I said, why are you on Guam? You've never even stationed here. He goes, oh, I did research and I came here. I used to live in Hawaii, but I want to be close to home, close to his parents. So they live in Korea. Okay. So he wanted to be here, so it's closer to fly home if he needs to go home. But he's here, and him and his wife love it too. So I'm telling you, Guam is like a hidden gem. It's like no one knows about it.
That's good.
It's like secret.
The more people that find out, the worse traffic will get.
But we're here to talk about benefits. A benefit a lot of veterans don't know exist.
Yeah. And there's no guarantee with this benefit, is there?
A home loan guarantee. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get the loan.
We can let him break it down for us. Did you want to? We have how many minutes before we have a break?
Oh, we got 5.
5 minutes, okay. I guess because I know there's so much, like you said, like you spoke at our symposium, and you were up there for probably almost an hour, I've got to say, because veterans kept asking questions, and that was more questions, and another veteran asked a question. So I think because we don't have a lot of time on the show, I think break it down, put it in a nutshell. What can you say about it? What are the most basic things veterans need to know about access to a VA home loan?
So what I will say is that speech that I gave before was really a shortened version, because there's so much that could go into VA home loans that you really can't cover it in 1 hour. So I tried to shorten it down as much as possible. But what I will say is that if we needed to go more into detail, everybody's situation is different. I can maybe give some general overlays of how the VA program works, but with everybody's individual situation, I'll be able to explain how the VA home loan can work better for you specifically.
Very good. And it's interesting that, when you are talking about coming to Guam, right, we have this really, it's a new thing where everybody seems to think that leaving Guam is the best option, and yet here we have people coming to Guam. So, maybe it's not really that it's Guam that's the issue. It has more to do with maybe the people are looking for something different. But, with you and you being a veteran and being here, right, earlier I talked about Mr. Ed Tovis, right, and here you are, right, a veteran in the community, and you work at Bank Pacific, right? And you like it here, and you want to do these things. And I think your main mission, and you really we had a great conversation before we got here, and you talked about getting the education about the VA home loan to all our veterans out there. And you mentioned something about when you first heard about it. Did you have some misconceptions about what the home loan is about?
Oh yeah. I had no idea how the home loan benefit worked. I talked to most of my buddies in the military, and we would spread information around and pass it around and think that was how it worked.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know that I didn't know how the benefit worked until years later, when I started working for the VA. I even bought a house thinking I was using my VA benefit. And I didn't realize until years later that I'd been taken advantage of by a lender and a realtor who gave me bad information. And I didn't realize that it was bad information until I got formally trained by the VA on how this benefit worked and started talking to other veterans who had gone through the same thing. So I'll try to help them out so they can avoid what I went through.
And then that's the passion that you have today, right? And I think we were talking about this being a VA employee, right? And that's not what we're here for, but still, the basis of being a VA employee, your main mission is to care for this veteran and give them as much information as you can as an employee from the VA. So it's not your job to turn them away or feed them very little information. And by the way, do they pay you guys well when you work with the VA? It's a federal job, isn't it?
Sure.
And you guys get paid quite well. So
that's subjective. I was paid in experience. And I'm not going to say that it was not fruitful.
Yeah, okay.
But I really didn't come to public service for the money.
Exactly.
So I was making actually more money in the private sector.
Oh my gosh.
I came to public service for that reason.
Very good.
It took me a long time to get hired at the VA. I worked at other agencies before that, but it took me a long time to get hired at the VA because I wanted to work with vets, because I do have a passion for that.
I know, and once we got a hold of you, right, I think you were out of town for a bit, right, and I think I reached out to you, and after that we can't get rid of you, and I love it because, this is what we need. We need, and to have our veterans ask questions, right, and you provide that education. This is the place to do it, and maybe we'll go over some of the things that we want to educate. It's like, I think one of the things you talked about is even just the basic stuff, right? So what are some things you maybe want to talk about that are real basic stuff that would educate them about the things that the VA loan is about? Or
some of the biggest things are really just dispelling some of the myths about VA loans. one of the first things is that you don't have to be afraid to call the VA. So even though I work for Bank Pacific, and I'm on the other side now, I'm actually seeing a different perspective working for the lender than as like an oversight agency like the VA might be for lenders. And it's actually given me more education even just working here to see from a perspective that I didn't really consider working at the VA. And it's helped. And it's I think it's going to help me help the veterans better because I'm looking at it from a different perspective now.
And I know there's more, but I think we're going to take a break real quick.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll elaborate on that. So you're listening to us on The Point 93.3. Veterans with Benefits. You can call into 671-888-TALK. We'll be right back.
All right.
Need publicity for your big events? We've got a great feature on the Point's website to help you get your happening noticed for free. Just go to thepoint.gu and look for the community button. Click on submit your event and then fill in the blanks. You can even upload your flyer. Once we approve it, it'll show up on all Choice Broadcasting websites. Did I say it was free? From 5Ks to car washes, lunch plates, fundraisers, whatever. Let us help you get the word out. Free! Get started on thepoint.gu.
Fox Facts.
America declared independence on July 4th, 1776, but George Washington didn't become president until 1789. So who ran the show in the meantime? The Continental Congress was in charge, managing the war and early government business. From 1776 to 1781, they had presidents, but the role was mostly ceremonial. In 1781, the Articles of Confederation kicked in, and John Hanson of Maryland became President of Congress. Some even call him the forgotten first president. He signed official documents and corresponded with foreign leaders. All told, 8 men held the title before George Washington, who in 1789 became the first true president with real executive power and eventually his face on the dollar bill. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
Listen to The Point anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Find your favorite stations like The Point and discover more. Music stations, local and trusted news sources, sports talk and team coverage, plus today's biggest podcasts. Find it all on the Odyssey app. AUDACY.
And we're back. So in the studio, we have with us Mr. Fernando Hunt from Bank Pacific. He's here talking about VA home loans, one of the benefits veterans are eligible for. And so he's going to break down the basics. But I just want to read a comment. Albert Valentine, HMI is awesome from Bangkok.
Hey,
so he's listening
Bangkok.
to us in Thailand, right? Thailand?
Yes,
Thailand.
that's right.
All right, Fernando. So you told us one thing. So like, what is the basic? If a veteran is eligible, if they want to buy a house, what would be their first step?
Okay, well, first, if you know that you're already eligible, really the only way to determine that is to get your COE, the Certificate of Eligibility. So there's a thing about that. So the veteran has the ability to get their own certificate. You can go online and order your own certificate and get it emailed to you online.
Okay.
However,
on VA.gov?
Yeah, VA.gov. Or through eBenefits. However, the lender can't use that certificate.
Okay.
The lender is required to get that certificate themselves in order to even order the appraisal for your house. So while you have the ability to get your own certificate, it really doesn't really help you at all because the lender can't use it. They're going to need to go into the system themselves.
Okay.
And part of the reason for that is that a long time ago there were lenders who might have been saying that they were able to do VA loans, and they might have started the process with veterans, and then when you get to closing, they weren't able to get a certificate, and they might have found out that maybe the veteran wasn't even eligible.
Right.
And there are fees paid at that time that you can't recover. You're paying for the appraiser. You can't get that money back. So to protect the veteran, the VA wants to make sure that that lender is able to get a certificate, and you do it early on in the process before any money exchanges hands to protect the veteran.
Now, are there fees for veterans when they're going through, trying to get a loan?
Sure. I mean, there are fees that the veteran is able to pay, but the government limits how much you're able to pay or what fees you are able to pay. Okay. And all of those fees aren't secretive. Right, so if you have a veteran who wants to know what you're able to pay for or what you're not able to pay for, you really don't have to rely on someone telling you what that is, because all of that is public information. All the information, most of the information for VA loans is covered in what's called VA Pamphlet 26-7, which is known as the Lender's Handbook.
Okay.
That gives you almost everything that you need to know about VA loans. Right. And specifically talking about what you're able to pay and what you're not able to pay is covered in Chapter 8, which goes over the VA funding fee and all of the fees and that you're able to pay as a veteran.
So zero down doesn't mean, that there's no fees?
Well, zero down just means a down payment for the house. And
but that's huge too, right?
But sure, that's huge. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
But it does not mean no closing costs.
Ah, okay.
So a lot of people have the misconception that when you go into a VA home loan, that nothing comes out of your pocket. Sometimes it works out that way, but it's not necessarily the rule.
Okay. All right. And what else can you tell us about what you were just saying about, the fees and the people? You said pamphlet, what?
I brought that with me.
Yes.
So one of the common misconceptions is I already used my VA home loan once, I can't use it anymore.
Sure. As long as you're alive, you can use your VA loan.
So you can use it more than once.
As long as you're still eligible. So, for example, there may be a veteran who may have used a VA loan in the past and may come to do another VA loan. For every VA loan, the VA is required to determine eligibility, because there are some veterans in the past who may have been eligible but are no longer eligible.
Ooh,
and so there may have been veterans who may have been given a COE in the past, certificate of eligibility, but it might have been done in error.
Oh,
and
I
so
see. Okay.
the VA can continue giving you VA loans because you might have gotten it in error in the past. So they have to verify eligibility for every loan that goes through.
And that means that there are changes along the way. So just because you were eligible once, you still got to go through the process again to get, it could be an update of some sort, right? Okay. All right. And this education that you're putting out, right, this is your main focus, right, is to educate our veterans and educate the folks out there about the VA home loan. Is that correct?
Well, that's one of my main focuses.
Okay.
So, of course, that was my main focus when I worked for the VA.
Right.
But, of course, now I don't work directly for the VA. So I'm doing this as a passion.
Very good.
Secondly, I work for Bank Pacific now.
Yes.
So that's why it's not just my only hat. I do other things now, but because this is my expertise, I will say that I'm able to give a perspective that there may not be many people even on island that can give that perspective as an actual loan specialist for the VA.
Awesome. And that's huge for our veterans and our active duty outs also here. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay. Because they can take advantage of this.
Correct.
All right.
As long as they're eligible.
Yes.
And I think earlier we were talking about, and I think you experienced this too, is that not a lot of lenders know exactly the ins and outs of a VA home loan, eligibility, payment, DIC, surviving spouses, but you do. So you really are an asset to Bank Pacific and the island.
Well, those are some of the things that I did as part of my job there. I determined eligibility. I determined whether surviving spouses were able to get that benefit. And as a veteran myself who's used the benefit, and I'm sure I've actually talked with some of the vets here on island, and I've talked to thousands of vets when I worked for the VA. There are many vets who may talk to certain people in that industry who may claim to be an expert in that area, but may not actually have the actual experience that can help the veteran. So that's why I encourage veterans to call the VA to verify anything that I may tell you today, and I can give you the actual source of the guidance where that information can be found, because I believe that the veteran who knows how to use their own benefit is an empowered veteran that could help themselves and help other veterans as well.
And is that number 1-800-827-1000?
For the Home Loan Guarantee Department, it's a little different. It's, the telephone number for them is 877-827-3702. And that will take you directly to the Loan Guarantee Department at the VA.
Okay. So the loan guarantee, that's the one that, like you said, they'll make sure you're eligible. Is that
They're the ones
the
who actually
number?
made the determination. So when you actually go to the lender, and this is something I can maybe help with as well. So you're going to need to bring your service documents to the lender, who will then upload those documents into the system to get your certificate. In many cases, they're able to get an automatic certificate sent back to them from the lender. But in some cases, especially for those who may be reservists, National Guard, it may take some time because the VA has to actually look at those documents and determine eligibility before you get your certificate. But I can tell you which documents you'll need. I can look at your documents and say yay or nay whether you're eligible, although the official determination comes from the VA directly.
All right. Now, as you may or may not know this information, but where is a data at that says how many veterans are using a VA home loan?
That's usually that's public record too. So I think there's a lot of places online that may determine how many types of VA loans that there may be in a particular economy. But I don't have that information myself.
Okay, I think after this, maybe I might want to find that out. Because like Anthony, was saying earlier, when before we got on air, was those are the ones that or we are told that are buying houses now are veterans, or like you said, active duty. Active duty is included in those numbers.
Yes.
And you want to continue to help our veterans really truly understand these guidelines, right? Because this is the way for them to take advantage of a benefit that they have, right? And through your current employer, right, at Bank Pacific, right, you are one of the only, or you're not the only institution that does VA home loans.
No, we're not the only one.
Okay,
no.
All right. But what did you say? They have the handsomest veteran representative.
After a couple of drinks, I'm handsome.
Well, just a couple. You're a cheap date. I like it.
As I get older, you have to increase the drinks.
What were some of the questions that the veterans asked you about at the symposium?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Was there one question that stood out to you?
So after so many years, these are really all the same questions that I always would get. So they really don't really stand out, except for the ones that made, like I had a personal attachment to because I might have gone through it myself.
Right.
And so those are usually eligibility requirements. What you mentioned earlier about whether you can have the VA loan more than once. Those are all things that, those are a couple of things that veterans are just misled about. And when they don't know about those things, they fail to use their benefit because they think they can't.
Yeah. And
if they're talking to someone who isn't educated on it and they're giving you bad information, only the veteran is going to be hurt. So if we're able to educate the veteran to know where to get information themselves, then they can empower themselves. And that's why I will always keep referring back to VA pamphlet 26-7.
And you had me pull it up earlier. There's like at least, I'd want to say 18 chapters in that. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because, it's loans and then construction loans, which is very, very complex.
Refinancing loans.
Yes.
It goes over how to underwrite the loan in Chapter 4. That will tell you how the lender is supposed to be looking at your loan. And you can kind of look at that yourself and your own personal situation. You can read Chapter 4 and see how the lender is going to be reviewing your loan. And that will give you the basics. So remember, even though the VA may set guidelines, every lender has their own right and own ability to set their own loan guidelines. And so when you look at the VA pamphlet 26-7, that's going to give the basics. But there may be extra things that the lender may want to add to protect their own interests as well.
Right. And then does that vary from lender to lender?
Of course it does, because
Okay.
everybody doesn't, they're in competition with each other. So, of course, one lender isn't going to copy the exact same thing that another lender does. They're going to do what's best for their own shareholders. And that may vary. So they may change their loan policies, they may or may not. But it's up to the veteran to know what they're able to do. At a minimum, this is what the VA pamphlet 26-7 is going to cover. This is what the bare basic minimums are. Anything else is directly from the lender.
Right.
And maybe a couple of questions, right? So I know we want to touch on what it truly means about a guarantee, right? And then, we talked about the housing situation here and what it costs, right, to purchase a home out here. And maybe we'll touch on that once we get done with the break. We'll come back and we'll talk about those two things.
Okay.
Yes. You're listening to Veterans with Benefits on 93.3. We'll be right back.
hey, so far so good. So anyway, the guy that
Choice Broadcasting and Micronesia Mall presents the 2025 Home and Lifestyle Expo. Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the center court. Join us as we showcase an abundance of Guam businesses to help you buy a home and create a lifestyle that tailors to you. Booths are available now. Hurry, they're filling up. If you're a business that specializes in landscaping, realty, furniture, home insurance, and more, call 888-7346 and ask for Doris, Daryl, Shanzi, or Michelle. For more information about the 2025 Home and Lifestyle Expo, call 888-RDIO.
Stay cool all year round by checking out Johnstone Supply for your HVAC and refrigeration needs. Located at 170 Guerrero Drive on Picanel Road in Tamuning, call Johnstone Supply today at 671-649-0581. That's 671-649-0581. Open 8 a.m. to noon and 1 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Open Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and closed on Sundays. Stay cool with Johnstone Supply.
We're back. You can call in to 671-888-TALK or 8255. So we have some questions online from Brenda Rivera. She says, thank you. Gary Cooper asks, I want to buy a house in the States with spending half the time in the States and half the time in Guam. Is this possible?
So the law requires that you buy the house with the intention for it to be your primary permanent residence. Just based on the way that you're verbalizing it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be your primary residence. So what I would suggest is that you may want to make a determination about where you actually want to live. Now, there's nothing that states that you can't come back and visit. So if you buy a house in the States, there's nothing to say that you can't come back and visit your home. There's nobody that says how long you're able to visit in your home.
So there could be a situation, right? And we talked about that earlier, right? Where a guy had a house that he had family stay and he grew and and he had to really go back and say, hey, I need to get another home, right? Now, I think in that situation, right, what you mentioned was there's one VA guarantee, right?
For each home. For every home that you may have, there's a separate guarantee, because remember that guarantee goes to the lender.
Right.
The lender is being guaranteed that they're going to be paid up to a certain dollar amount in the event that you default on the loan. That's what guarantee means for a home loan guarantee.
Okay.
So that's really an assurance to the lender that there's going to be less risk on the loan because the government may co-sign on the loan for you.
And then you still need to also be able to qualify, right, for the loans at whatever location. Now, let's just say for this guy, Gary, that's calling in, could it be that maybe he has family there that he needs to take care of and a family here? I don't know how that might work, but I'm just saying, right? Almost the same situation.
Well, the lender is going to look at that loan and say, well, are you moving here?
Right.
'Cause they're required to. They're required to determine that because the law requires them to.
Right.
So if you're telling them and you're signing on this document when you're getting the VA loan that you're signing that you're going to move into, this is going to be your primary residence, you're signing that under the penalties of perjury that this is what this is going to be.
Yeah, and we talked about that, right? You actually said people go to jail for this stuff.
I haven't seen anybody, but but it's not when you're breaking the law. I can guarantee you that no one's going to just say that you're defrauding the government if you're buying this house for a purpose that you're not stating on this federal document.
Yeah.
And you're actually hurting the benefit from other veterans who may be doing it honestly.
Okay, sorry. We have one more question. Brenda says, please repeat the phone number. So I'm not sure if she's asking for the points phone number or the phone number that you mentioned earlier. Can you mention that phone number again, the guarantee number?
For the home loan guarantee, it's 1-877-827-3702.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to call me at Bank Pacific, my telephone number is 671-479-1143.
All right, thank you. And then Ken Paulino says, Tony for Congress. You are just getting nominated for everything over here, sir.
I need to get my campaign manager in here to take care of me.
Jose?
Yes, Jose. Okay. We need to work on that, sir.
Strategy.
2028 maybe.
Whoa, there you go. I got plans now.
All right. These are some really good questions, And, VA home loan, when what we brief briefly about VA home loans when we do our benefits boot camps. So what we teach is that you're eligible for it. And so we talk about the percentage, right? So, like you said, active duty, they just had to serve, did you say 1 month and they're eligible?
Well, if they're still serving, it's 90 days.
90 days, okay.
And you have to have, so there's two things that make you eligible for the benefit, your length of service and your character of service.
Right.
Okay.
So for a character of service, for someone who's still serving, they don't have a character of service because they're still serving. So what they would get in lieu of showing a discharge, like on your DD-214, you would get what's called a statement of service letter that your command or your personnel office could actually issue. The sign, or whoever's able to sign it at the order of their commander is able to sign that you're still serving and shows your name, your social, or at least the last 4 of your social, the date that you entered active duty, any lost time, anything that shows that you're still currently serving. And then that will be sent to the VA, and then the VA can determine whether you meet that 90-day.
Right. And then, what we teach current as of 2025 is as long as a veteran is 10% service connected, they're eligible to receive a VA home loan funding fee, waiver of the VA funding fee.
I'm a stickler for words. So
I know. Waiver of the VA home loan funding fee. Yes.
It actually, the requirement is that you have to have a compensable service-connected disability.
10% only.
So there may be situations, very rare situations, where a person may have 0% disability and have been compensated. But those are very rare situations. Yeah. But as a general rule, it means 10%.
Right. Because 0% is not compensation. But SMCK does give them 0%, but they get compensated for it. And so that's ED and FSED.
It's a compensable disability.
Right. Right.
And with this, right, the intent of the VA is to help the veteran, right? Now, of course, they need to meet the requirements, but that's their intent is you have a benefit and we'd like to help you get it, but you need to qualify for it, right? Okay. Or meet the requirements.
So eligibility just says that you're eligible for the program, and that's what the VA determines.
Yes.
Qualifying for the loan, the VA gives some basic guidelines of what the veteran needs to do or have in order to qualify for that loan. The lender themselves, the one who's actually loaning the money, they're going to have the ultimate say because it's their money.
Right.
So they're going to determine, in addition to what the VA says, they may want to add some extra things that may say, okay, well, we want to add this on top of that to say that we want to check this before we loan you the money.
And the guarantee is not that the veteran is guaranteed to get a loan.
Right.
Right. The guarantee is that the VA, if all things are met and they decide everything's good and the lender says it's good, they will guarantee the ability for that loan to be safe.
So the guarantee means that the whole purpose of the VA loan is to understand it like this. So the VA is essentially co-signing on a home loan for you.
Yes.
Just like if you were to co-sign on a car loan for somebody. Yeah. So when you co-sign on that car loan, if that person doesn't pay, what's going to happen? The bank is coming after you for payment because you co-sign on the loan. This works the same way. The only difference is that the government doesn't co-sign for the entire amount of the home loan.
Right.
They co-sign for up to 25% of the home loan.
Right.
That 25% is called the guarantee.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
What are you seeing trending on Guam? Are you seeing like what you read in the paper today? There's no homes to purchase, no homes to. There are just no homes.
Well, that's something that's big on Guam. There's not a lot of homes, and the homes are priced pretty high right now. But the interest rates are a big factor as well.
Okay, so this is a huge benefit for veterans. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then they should pursue it or at least look into it, right? And in your experience. You've been to many different places and looked at something like this. Is this the same there as it is here as well, where the number of veterans that are pursuing it is just about the same, or do you see less of the veterans on this part of town or this part of the world going after it, for example?
That would be hard to say. So working at the VA, I didn't talk to just certain veterans. I talk to all the veterans,
no matter
worldwide.
Oh,
so I may have a bigger picture looking at the VA than working at a particular bank. Now, So I really wouldn't be able to give an overall picture of all the veterans unless they all come and apply.
Yeah.
And once again, my telephone number is 671-479-1143.
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't be able to give an overall picture for all the veterans on Guam.
So we have another question. So I think this is the same question. So from Miss Ellen Chargaloff, I'm already paying for a house. When I pay that off, am I able to buy a house off island under a VA home loan and still be 50% resident?
There's no such thing as a 50% resident.
Well,
if
I
you're
think
buying a
she
house
means
with a VA
like stay there half the time. So I think it's a similar
So
question.
once again,
as
so
earlier.
it's all how you're wording this is going to be how your intent is taken. So if you're wording it that way, and if I'm looking at that loan to underwrite it, you can't get it.
Yeah, she
because
needs to say that that's going to be her primary
it has to be
residence.
your primary residence, and maybe you're going to come back to visit. If you're
Yes.
going to have a primary residence anywhere, that needs to be your primary residence. You don't need to refer back to here at all. Why would you need to refer back to here if that's going to be your primary residence?
Exactly.
Can I make a question that may clarify, but I don't know if it will.
Go ahead.
When someone is talking about residency, and I can see the question said, I'm going to spend half my time here and half my time in the States.
Right.
What you're referring to is where they're going to be paying their state taxes at. Is it going to be filing on Guam or filing in the States? Is that the correct way to frame it, or is there more to it than that?
It's really it's not really just based on your taxes, because the VA doesn't really pay attention to where you may be paying state tax or anything like that. It's really where your permanent domicile is. For example, there may be someone who may be buying a house here in Guam, and they may be a traveling salesman. They may only be here 1 month out of the year because they're working everywhere else, but this is where they get their mail.
So what's the measurement for permanent residence?
This is where you get your mail.
Okay, there you go.
If you have multiple places where you're getting your mail, then it's going to be hard to tell the VA that this is my primary residence when I'm also getting mail over there. And if it gets down to where someone may be investigating you and they're seeing all these flights that you're doing twice a year, it's not going to look good.
Can VA home loans be done outside of the United States, other than Guam or
Only on
territories?
U.S. soil.
Only on U.S. soil.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good question. Someone did ask that at the symposium. So how did they get a hold of you? Which office are you located at?
I'm in the Hagatnya location
Okay.
and in the Sagan Humashao building,
So which building is that? If you're staring at Fetch.
151 Aspinall Boulevard.
Because there's
Excuse
two
me,
buildings.
Avenue.
There's two Bank Pacific buildings. Are you in the left one or the right one? Or on
If
the
you're
side?
facing it, it's the one on the left. It actually says Sagan Humashao on the building.
Okay.
Umadzo.
Umadzo?
Means you're going to borrow.
Oh.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you can.
But this guy over here speaks fluent Chamorro, and I
I'm
always
trying
tell
to
him,
learn how to speak
Oh, in Chamorro, Anthony,
better.
that's what you should sign off in Chamorro.
Afa.
The tagline. If you're not something, you're something. You should sign off in Chamorro. You should. I'm telling you. We have a lot of people listening to us that speak Chamorro. And
we'll
so,
work
what
on
about
that.
your contact number and email? How about that?
So my contact number is Fernando H, FERNANDOH, all one word, at bankpacific.com. Bank Pacific is all one word.com. And that's also our website, www.bankpacific.com. My
And
telephone
just-
number is 671-479-1143.
And just so that everyone knows, right, this is not going to be the last time you're going to be hearing from this young gentleman here.
I know when we first met earlier, you were like, hey, can we do a series? And I said, well, we can't have you on every single week. Everyone's going to be like, oh, be a home loan, Karina. That's enough.
And we got to kind of have to do this, right? Because even at the symposium, right, he said, I can keep talking, right? And, everyone's asking questions, and there's all different kinds of, individual things that they need to talk about. So, yes, let's do this some more. We'll continue to push out the education. They can call you and email you.
And then your turn to sign off, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I think Ms. Karina wanted me to say, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
In tomorrow. He didn't get it, Jose.
I did. I said I'm going to work on it.
Afa?
Oh, he said he's going to work on it.
Janginti hogui net pipes hogui problema.
All right. In tomorrow. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
The Point is KUSG, Hagatnya, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
Ball shooter reports. I'm Deborah Valentine, Fox News. Reports of an active shooter at the University of South Carolina, Columbus Sunday were a hoax. Friendy Clearvod of Fox 57 in Columbia, South Carolina reports.
At about 6:30, USC PD received a report of gunfire just inside the Thomas Cooper Library. Now, after that, an alert was issued telling students to barricade and to protect themselves. At one point, another alert came in saying that it was believed that the shooter was a 6-foot white male with black shorts. USC police telling us that they did not find any shell casings. Again, they did not find any shell casings. At one point, there was a secondary search at the library with a tactical team. Authorities also checked for videos around campus for any evidence, and